Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night, and you know what that means on the bus. It's time to get that Friday feeling. And talking of feelings, how are you all feeling tonight? Are you a wee bit excited? Are you a wee bit nervous? Are you a bit scared? Are you already looking for a space behind the couch to watch the game tomorrow? Or are you absolutely buzzing out your head for it? Because yes, it is the night before the biggest fixture in Scottish football, the Glasgow Derby, Celtic hosting Rangers tomorrow for the big one. So it's going to be, as I say, it's a nervy one. There's going to be a whole spectrum of emotions, I think, tonight in the chat, and especially tomorrow morning as well as we head towards the game. But as Ian Crocker always says on the commentary before the game kicks off, who will have their say on Derby Day? Forget that. Who will have their say tonight on the bus? As you can see, joining myself tonight, it's my usual Friday cohort. Liam, Canada's favourite, the Punk Duck Warlord, Greenlaw. How are you doing, Liam?
Absolutely brilliant, Phil. Again, night before Christmas. This is your Christmas tomorrow. So, it's like, I don't know. I start to get excited about the Wednesday, and it's like, all right, Saturday morning, like for me, I'm getting up to watch it and going through the whole ritual and all that. All right, what am I going to have? Going to sup before I go? Just going to, there's a whole ritualistic thing about getting ready for these games, no matter where you are and what our opinions are going to be. It's the stuff that you bring to it personally, your family stuff and all that. My mum used to put out blue hankies and green hankies, like stupid math stuff, because it was half and half, And it was like, just stupid stuff like that. And I love a game at this time of the year. That's the one. You've got your family together and all that, or good chance to phone each other up and talk about the game and all that. And it's a big game for us. And you're right, biggest game in Scottish football.
Mm-hmm.
Still one of the biggest games in world football. I've been to plenty of derbies here that guys are telling me, it's a fucking great derby. That's a great derby. Yours is the best.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, of course. And we're also expecting tonight that Russell will join us, but he is running a tad late. So I just sent him a message saying, there you go, there's Liam. He's cracking the beers up now. He is ready for the game tomorrow. There you go. Get on about it, Liam.
Shitty beer.
Oh, man, Budweiser. But yeah, Russell will be joining us. He is on his way. But because he's I'll say it now before he comes on. He ain't getting away that easy because I expect him to be doing the quiz tonight. So there you go. He ain't getting away that easy. But before we get into all that, of course, folks, I'll just remind everyone to do all that good stuff. Of course, hit that like button. Helps out algorithm. CSC gets the bus recommended in more people's inboxes on YouTube. Obviously, if you've not done so yet, hit the subscribe button. I think the next milestone we're looking for is 4,500. I got it 4,300 something. The last time I checked, obviously get involved in our comment section tonight, like so many people already are doing. And of course, if you want to share the link of the Bhoys bus far and wide on any social media platform you wish, then by all means, please do so. Helps us out massively. And of course, you can head over to piesports.com for the game tomorrow, especially get all your tasty treats bought for it. And use the code BUS1888. That'll let them know that the bus is what sent you there, and you'll get 12.5% off your order. And all that said and done, Liam, yes, it's that time. It's that time to get talking about the game tomorrow. Obviously, I say Rangers are, I was going to say in town, but they're in the same city anyway. But yeah, of course, heading to Celtic Park tomorrow. Obviously, there's no away fan presence at all. It's going to be a packed house full of Celtic fans. Obviously, the Green Brigade are back as well. That got sorted, it seems, last week. So the timing of that is absolutely perfect because we're going to need that tomorrow. We're going to need that 12th man because obviously we've still got a lot of injury problems heading into this game. Our form has been a bit indifferent in recent weeks. Obviously, we've had a couple of wins on the bounce. Rangers have had a bit of a new manager bounce. They've won a trophy recently. They've kept themselves in Europe after Christmas as well. So they're obviously riding high right now. And it's going to be something tomorrow. I say it's one of these ones. I know the cliche gets used all the time about every derby in the world, but the forum book does go out the window with this one because it's true, isn't it, Liam, that anything really can happen tomorrow. Expect the unexpected, would be safe to say.
Expect the unexpected, except Greg Taylor left back.
that's mandatory. That's standard. Come on.
That's it. It's going to be. It's hyping up for a big show, isn't it? And it's going to show. Are they big show players or have we got big show players? And their guys seem to put it on more in Europe and stuff like that, in the bigger games. They seem to be primed to getting something out of them. Whereas we've sort of got into a sort of complacency where it's normal for us to lose a big game in front of a big crowd, like in a Champions League night. And that's my one concern about this team. It's like, okay, if it turns into a real battle tomorrow, even though that crowd's cheering you on, do you still have the mentality and the physicality to get in that fight tomorrow? Because I think they're going to try and bully us off the park. And I think, just look at the way the games have been refereed. I think we're going to get kicked up and down. If Abada starts them all, I'm absolutely sure they'll target him. So I think tomorrow's going to show us it's like, okay, we're needing leaders to show up on the park, and it can't be, it can't be the ones that have been on mute for the last 6 months. Somebody's got to take charge tomorrow, because I think we are going to get targeted, and we're going to get targeted in that back area, and I think that's going to. Look, I'm not worried about Scales and Welsh, just if they only had to do what they have to do, but if they're running over to cover for Greg Taylor or running at the other side for Johnson, and they're not doing their jobs, but they're compensating for the deficiencies on other sides, that's when we'll get in trouble. And so then it will be like, okay, you just have to target one side, but you're affecting the entire back four in the middle of the park. And so, I don't know, that's what I'm looking forward to just say, okay, so Brendan, those are pretty obvious, and narratives or strategies of what they might do. How are we going to battle against that? What's their formation like? And again, I think we should be going at them since the go. I think we go and we try to hammer them, offer them absolutely no respect. And so, because I don't want to sit in against them, because we'll get bombarded with high balls and we'll get pressured, and they'll be diving at every free kick, and Goldson likes a wee floppy, like every 20 minutes.
Goldson likes swatting the ball away with his hand.
Never seen a bigger Jesse for screaming about at the referee as well. It's always like he's always screaming like he's been hard done by, and glad to see him with a greeting face tomorrow at the end of the game.
Well, I think the blueprint for how to beat them, or how to really, put them in their place, is you go back to February of 2022 when we played them in that nighttime game, the one that got rearranged. And we just stormed them from the first minute, and we were a goal up inside 3-4 minutes with Hitati scoring. That's really what you look at. A start like that tomorrow, just get right in there and just scare them, because they've shown Liam plenty of times over the years, and they've still got a lot of players who were around when Tavernier said this about how they don't like pressure from the stands, mostly their own fans putting pressure on them. But when it's a really ravenous Celtic crowd, and we saw what happened, I say 2 years ago, that can, that shows you that they crumble big time. So Celtic need to be in about them tomorrow, and the crowd also just need to stay patient. That is so crucial tomorrow. So crucial, man, that they just because there's going to be misplaced passes. There's going to be moments where your player, we're not going to find our man, we're going to make mistakes, and they say the crowd have just got to stay with them and make it as uncomfortable. Because looking at European games, for instance, when we try and make a ravenous atmosphere, then that other team kind of kills the crowd and they get a hold of the ball. The fans have just got to keep on putting the pressure on them, because if we allow them a foothold in it, then it could be bad. And you look at the last few weeks with some of the forum, some of the bad results we've had. If this Clermont has been doing his homework, there are a lot of things in the game that are glaringly obvious. We don't particularly like set pieces, as we've seen many times this season, particularly corners. Joe Hart just doesn't seem to like a big crowd around him at corners. We don't like getting roughed up, as Kilmarnock showed us. And even with the other night, when we obviously beat Dundee comfortably, the early stages of that game, Dundee were pressing us pretty high, and our backline seems like they didn't like it. So there's a few telltale signs there, and I hope to God, but I say this Clermont seems like you might have, it's quite obvious when you look at it. So hopefully we can throw a few curveballs in there and surprise them tomorrow with some of our tactics. Because I say right now, the way things have been going with Brendan's performances up to now, it's not hit the peak yet. It's definitely not. and he's got to do something tomorrow to really turn that around. Speaking of which, as 427 says, Russell making a late ground entrance. Here he is. There he is.
I forgot it was Friday, so I've been like out all day, man. Do you know what I mean? Just so you know, so it's going to be like, so it'll be pretty entertaining.
Nobody knows what day it is in that week between Christmas and New Year. Nobody knows.
I seen the notification on Twitter. I was like, oh no, I totally forgot about that. I better get a taxi booked.
Welcome along, Russell. It's good to see you, though, mate, on a Friday.
Welcome dedication to the cause, mate.
Good stuff. This is like old days, the three of us on a Friday night. Oh, wow.
It's a bit like that. It's good. It's good, mate. I've had an old school Friday as well. That's what it's all about. My first pint was about 2:00 this afternoon.
So you're really ready for it?
Aye. If I even make the football tomorrow, it'll be a miracle.
So yeah, as I was just saying to like Liam before the start there, just like how he's feeling in that. So Russell, as it is tradition before the game, obviously, some people are really nervous, scared, other ones are just up for it, excited. How are you feeling right now? Somewhere in the middle?
I've not really thought about it that much, to be honest with you. So now you ask me, I'm zen. I think we'll get a result. I think we'll get a result tomorrow. Why not? Penalty at Celtic. That'd be the funniest thing ever. 1-0 win with a penalty.
That would be crazy. I think I predicted that for a game earlier this year, the one we won 3-2 in the build-up. I said, we're going to get a penalty against them. And here we are, 9 months later, and they still haven't had a penalty against them in the league.
True.
What the hell? What the hell's going on? Oh, who knows? As long as we put the ball in the back of the net somehow, that's all that matters. That's it. As long as we can just score more than them. I don't care how they do it. Penalties, whatever. Just make sure that they win it tomorrow. But yeah, let's do what we usually do then on the Friday film. We'll talk about the team, the lineup, and so on. And yeah, you were talking about there, Liam, with the back line. The back line. Here we go, going into a game against Rangers in December 2023, and we're looking at Stephen Welsh and Liam Scales starting as a centre-back pairing because obviously Carter Vickers is going to miss the next 2 games and be back in full training during the winter break. So we'll be missing this one and the St Mirren game. But yeah, here we are, Liam, where it's Stephen Welsh. Who saw this coming? I mean, the Liam Scales thing we've talked about enough times. We seem to bring it up every Friday, but it's like, how long can this last? Can he keep this going? But it's mad that, again, we've got £8.5 million or £8 million worth of centre-back signed in the summer there, and they're not getting a sniff, and it's going to be Stevie Welsh tomorrow, who I think when him and Scales played together, Liam, against Feyenoord, they did actually more than all right on the night. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
They're not the two I'm worried about. It's the ones either side of them. It's them getting pulled out of position to compensate for Taylor and Johnson. I want to see a big game for Johnson in that back four tomorrow. He's the one that needs to step up. I mean, I talked about Greg Taylor enough times in this, but Johnson started to sort of like, again, going to that level, where everybody's settling to that same sort of frequency that this is acceptable for Celtic. It's no. His crossing, his passing, everything is diminished, and I don't know what's happened to him. Even his tackling and all that, he's getting on the wrong side of people. So I think tomorrow, okay, you want to feed off a big crowd, you want to play for a big team. Tomorrow's the time you show up and play. This isn't Montreal, mate. This is Glasgow.
Oh, I say recently, Russell, we've seen some Juranovic-style moments coming in with Johnson, because we've obviously talked about Juranovic when he was here and kind of pointing out that, look, he's got a few deficiencies and most people didn't want to see it. And with Johnson, the same thing. We've seen a lot of things creeping in defensively. I know Mark was talking about attacking-wise, he's also lacking it as well. But tomorrow obviously is a day where he has to be so switched on. The one that keeps on coming back to my mind, Russell, is a couple of weeks ago against Feyenoord, the goal that we lost quite late on, where he is completely oblivious to the striker behind him. And it's like he's got to, because, I mean, these boys for Rangers, like Seema, who I believe plays on the wing for them, he's been doing all right this season, so he's got to always stay alert to the men around him tomorrow and make sure that they do not get a sniff. And obviously, Greg Taylor, we've said enough about Greg Taylor, particularly on the Friday night show. We know that Liam enjoys a good Greg Taylor chat. We know the deficiencies there, but tomorrow, man, the back line says probably going to be Johnson, Taylor, Welsh. and Scales. Again, mad to think, so how you feeling about that, and who is the one that's going to take charge in that back line?
Oh, I don't know, man. None of them. Who knows? Right? They'll just try and get by, won't they? So we did it at Ibrox, mind, with a dodgy back line, and here we go. So it'll be interesting, man. Cameron Carter-Vickers, I don't think he's been fit all season either, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
just wait and see. It's exciting.
Aye, because I think Mark said last night just about like rushing him back and so on, and this might become the norm with him now. This could be a recurring injury from now on, and there's talk that he might be getting a new contract long term, and it's no good to us if he keeps on ending up on the sidelines for numerous periods of time. So hopefully it's not a persistent thing, and it is something he can recover from relatively quickly, because he is by far the best defender. But tomorrow we're just going to make do without him. But again, the very fact that we're going in there and we've got two centre-backs that we signed in the summer who don't seem to be getting a sniff, again, just highlights once more the issues that we've talked about when it comes to the recruitment in the summer, and now also heading into January. And God knows what we're going to see in January. We know, all us fans can see what we need to do. Whether the board share our vision and can see what we can see, who knows? We'll find out in a few weeks. I'm sure we'll do many chats about that on the bus over the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to analysing all that again and again. After
sign another 3 centre-backs. Fuck it. This will be like the season of record amount of centre-backs signed. They will end up about 8 new ones or something by the end of the year.
How many of them will stay fit? That is the key. Oh, God. So try to keep them off it. And, of course, the ironic bit was the emergency loan that we signed. Nat Phillips ended up being injured right away. And since he has been back, when he does play, he doesn't look up to it anyway. It looks like he's about to be sent back to Liverpool. So, yeah, at least he's not playing tomorrow. But, yeah, we'll obviously say the back line, we pretty much know what that's going to be. But, again, in the middle of the park, Liam, Bernardo, it's his shot now, isn't it? We keep talking about this same shot every single week when we get to the midfield. Whereas, like with Hatate injured, who's going to grab it? And so far, nobody has really grabbed it. But Bernardo did get a goal against Dundee. Bit of a scrappy one, but they all count at the end of the day. And he's quite I'd describe him as just a steady hand, because I can't really define what he does and what he's really good at and so on. He's just kind of passing by at the moment. I don't really know. Like, I couldn't, if you told me even point him out in the street, I probably couldn't even do it, because he just he just doesn't even register with me at times. But I think tomorrow, with what we've seen in recent weeks, he's probably going to get the nod. Although, do you think, Liam, there might be a really wild curveball thrown in, because Hatate is back training? Do you think he will be given the start, or do you think he's one that will come off the bench, or will he just be on the bench just as a presence, just to be there? How do you think that one's going to play out, Liam?
Well, he's got a bit of scalper credentials we've talked about before.
He does.
He was on fire. He was scoring against them every time he played against them for the first couple of games. I think he got 2 in one game, 1 in another, and it always looked good. I think he was far more lethal than Kyogo against them. So I'd like to see him play tomorrow, but you never know with Rodgers. This could be another curveball. He talks about Scottish identity in this team. Does he go with somebody like Turnbull, who in head? I mean, this is when we know he's on the deep fried haggis, right? Like, that's why Turnbull gets a start, because he's got experience in this fixture. Maybe we see a whole Scottish team, like whole shortbread tin of players just comes out.
What did you say about his interview technique the other day in the group chat? What was it?
Is what?
You said something about Turnbull when he gets interviewed the other day. I don't know what you're on about, man.
Oh my God, he looks like he's being held hostage or something. It's like, I've never seen anybody so uncomfortable in an interview before. He must be painfully shy in front of a camera. I've never seen it like that. I mean, you see, documentaries and meeting people who've never seen civilization or cameras before, and they're much more charismatic and settled in front of it than David Turnbull is.
See, Tumble's one that really fills me with fear, because one thing that this team seems to lack for what Brendan wants to play is a bit of pace to keep the ball moving quickly, and he really slows it down, like he really does. And this is a game where we need to keep them working, keep Rangers chasing the ball as much as possible. And Tumble was saying recent games that he's played, that Hearts game in particular, although nobody was good in the Hearts game, nobody, but he was one that was getting particular flack from the stands, because everything was 2, 3, 4 touches and turning really slow when we really need to get, goal. We're 2-0 down at that point. It's like, come on, man, we need a bit of urgency here. So I'd be scared, but at the same time, with Liam saying that, I wouldn't even be shocked at this stage, because David Turnbull has featured a lot more than I think he should have this season. And I know there's all thing about, well, he's a top goal scorer and stuff like that, but I think that's a damning indictment of where we are. If David Turnbull in December is a top goal scorer right now, so I hope he is not the one. I think David Kelly said in the chat, if Tumble start, that's a resignation letter from Rodgers. God, I hope not. But I say this year, I just wouldn't be surprised, because he seems to keep finding his way in. But for me, it would be Bernardo. But yeah, Russell, do you think Hatate could be a wild one, or Bernardo for you, steady hand in the middle for now?
I mean, I don't know if he's a steady hand or not. I really don't. I can't make my mind up on Bernardo. It's a weird one with him. He doesn't even look Portuguese. No. Like, if he was called Jim McTavish, you wouldn't be surprised at all. He just looks like something for when you were at school together. You know what I mean? You're like, I mind Big Jim, but he's apparently it's weird with him. If Hatate's fit, would you start him? Probably not. I think you would bring him on to try and have that impact if needed. But I think if he starts the game and he's obviously not played in so long and not really been informed when he was fit, it's a bit of a risk and it could pass him by. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. It's one of the ones where I know some managers have done it in the past where they might give the player like an hour on those. But I think back to one of the, I know Neil Lennon doesn't get a lot of praise with Celtic fans, but obviously the one that comes to my mind was the cup final against them in 2019 where Edward wasn't fit. And it was like, as long as we can get to a certain point in the game, then we'll bring him on. And the first thing, of course, that Rangers did when Edward came on in that game was they decided to kick him to let him know that he was in a game. And of course, they gave away the free kick that was scored off of. So it's one of these things where if we get to a certain point, then you introduce Hatate, that might panic them a wee bit. They might do something stupid again, like they did that time, because they know he's a danger. As Liam says, he's got a track record of being a bit of a scalper against them with some of the stuff that he's done. So it's like they know what he's capable of when he's on his game. And, I'd like to think he's coming back a bit of the fire in the belly to prove a point here, because, as you rightly say, Russell, so far when he has played this season, it hasn't been the Hatate that we know and love. He's been stifled a wee bit, hampered by injury. So hopefully if he's back in the team and he does get on the park at some point tomorrow, he's coming on with a point to prove. He can hopefully, I say, maybe Rangers will get spooked by him and do something really daft. Maybe that's how we'll get a penalty that you predicted, Russell. Maybe that's how it will happen. Maybe somebody will just kick Hatate and we'll end up getting a penalty. We can only dream. But of course, in midfield, obviously, of course, McGregor will start, and you have Matt O'Reilly again. We talk about him so often, but so far, O'Reilly, when it came to this fixture, this is one where he really needs to, this is where he needs to make his mark, because he's been carrying us at times this season against the lower end teams. But now is the time to step up, because up to now he hasn't had a real defining moment, Liam, against Rangers, and what a time it would be to do it tomorrow.
Who, Hatate?
O'Reilly.
Is he? I think he has.
Pay attention, boy.
I think he's always played well against him, but you're right. I mean, the stage is set.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for a hero tomorrow, right? It's going to be. I think it's going to be one of three, right? It's going to be the Welsh and Scales combo where they just suck up everything in the air, everything in the deck. They win the game for us, right? The next one that comes through the middle is you bring in Hatate, right? And that comes and changes the game for us, Hatate or O'Reilly, right? That's your midfield. I think O'Reilly's probably because just of the attention he's been getting lately, this would be a great time for him to show up and have a really, really good game. If you're all about getting your mindset in order to be at the level that he thinks he should be playing at, tomorrow's one of those stages that you set where you can actually create a goal and set it in a milestone. You'll be able to have proper measurements of where he is in that journey as a football player. And then I think the other one that's interesting is Mikey Johnson.
Yes.
it's like, okay, as a boy that's been at the club since he was, I don't know, like McGregor and Ralston and Welsh and all that. All right, stage is set now. Okay, you showed us last week. Yeah, it's still there. But everybody walked away thinking, it's just a flash. Yeah. All right, so you got a chance. Can you come and do it 2 games in a row? And I think that will tell you everything about him and how he's worked in training this week and how he's going to show up. And if he doesn't, then Abada comes on and that's it. We probably don't see Mikey Johnson again. So something like that. No. So those are the 3 storylines. Who's going to be the hero tomorrow? I think it's one of the 3.
It's a good shout, by the way. All the ones that you've highlighted there. I particularly like the one about the 2 centre backs, and that's such a key point for us this season with the amount of injuries we've had. So yeah, this would be probably deemed the weakest centre back pairing we've probably gone into any fixture with. And so they've already beat Feyenoord. I know it was the dead rubber game, but they still played well that night. And Feyenoord were definitely taking it seriously, sending their goalkeeper up for last minute corners and stuff like that. So they were definitely up for that game, so they did all right that night. But it could be tomorrow.
I'm not sure that's the best example ever of someone taking it seriously, Phil, on a dead rubber. They send their keeper up.
But what are they going to do? If they salvage a draw, what does that do? They'd already qualified for 3rd place and we were already out. So it was kind of like, it seemed a bit excessive, for like, come on, guys. Like, nobody cares.
Maybe they're having a laugh.
Maybe they were. Maybe they're just having the banter. I don't know. Maybe just having a bit of a laugh about it. But obviously, you brought Mikey Johnson there, Liam and Russell. This is obviously one of the big talking points is the wingers. Because as we know, and quite incredibly, Rangers' most dangerous player is their right fullback. Debatable if he is even a fullback at times, because I always say Tavernier, he seems to be a good attacking threat for them, but he's not very good defensively. But yeah, it's mad that he is like the danger man, so we have to shut him down at all costs. And I know last night, you and the judge were talking about it, and the judge is very black and white when it comes to his opinions on Maeda and what he thinks about him. But for me, even if Maeda's ability on the ball at times can be a bit questionable, I think the way he works Tavernier and keeps him at bay, I think it's crucial that he does play. Because again, you've got to shut him down.
So on the left as well, though, yeah?
I would say on the left, yes, I would go with that on the left side, because that is his strongest point. And we don't know about Palmer up against Tavernier, because Palmer didn't sign in time, or he was on the bench, wasn't he, at Ibrox, so he never got on that day, if I remember right. But you want, obviously, pace as well, because, again, that just close Tavernier down and stop him from getting forward. And Maeda's obviously get bags and bags of pace. Palmer, less so, let's be honest on that one. He ain't got much in the way of pace. So I would prefer to see Maeda up against him tomorrow. I think he does rattle him. You look at the goal at Ibrox last year, where Goldson and Tavernier both get left in the dust by Maeda, marauding through to put us 1-0 up just a matter of minutes into the game. So you think about ones like that. So I think he is. I think I would have Maeda out there on the left-hand side tomorrow. What yourself, Russell?
It makes sense what you're saying, to be fair. I don't know. I forgot about that display at Ibrox. That was a year ago, wasn't it?
It was a New Year game in January last year, yep.
I mean, I don't think this manager gets away with a display like that tomorrow. When we really were off it for about an hour of that game, despite looking good at one stage in it, then we fell right off a cliff, and that was us celebrating getting the draw. I don't want a similar display to that, but yeah, keeping Tav quiet, I suppose. He'll pop up somewhere. I was looking at the highlights from the 3-2 win at Celtic Park last season. He comes up at the back post from the left-hand side and scores his second goal for Rangers that day. So I don't know. I suppose you've got a point. As long as Palmer's not going to be completely playing a different game if he's out in the right than what he has been, because he has been very good of late, in my opinion. And if we're going to create chances, he'll create more high-quality ones than Maeda will. Do you know what I mean? Maeda will get in good areas, but his final ball's nowhere near it. And I think Palmer's is far more direct, far more accurate, and I think we need that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, definitely. And the thing is, they could do a thing during the game where they can alternate. I know it's a Neil Lennon thing to do, but we did see, obviously, the goal that Palmer scored against Atletico Madrid, which was basically came from Maeda being on the left and playing the ball across. Although, looking back at it, I don't know if the ball was initially aimed for Palmer. It just happened to fall to him in the right place, but he finished it well from that right-hand side. So he is capable of playing there, and obviously putting in scoring a goal like that. So I say maybe just mix it up a wee bit and keep them guessing. Because obviously the other fullback, I'm going to guess is going to be Barisic. Because I genuinely, and this isn't me just trying to get the old Celtic DA points, but I genuinely don't watch much of Rangers. So I'm assuming Barisic is still the regular left back for them. I'm going to take a guess. Well, he'll be hoping the Badders no playing then if that's the case. But yeah, so we just try and shut them down because Barisic as well has shown in the past for them that he can also be a danger coming forward as well and whips in some decent crosses. So that is quite incredible. I say that their fullbacks seem to be the most dangerous part of their game, but you shut them down like we saw at Ibrox back in August when, once we weathered the initial storm and we got that lead, I felt they ran out of ideas really, really quickly in that second half, and it just became just aimless long ball punts into the box. And I'd like to think that we can just deal with that if that's what it's going to become, very much a sort of one-dimensional game where we can just read it every time. But yeah, we need to obviously keep them at bay. But one guy who we hope is not kept at bay tomorrow, Liam, and say we need to find a way to get him firing on all cylinders again, because he did score a scrappy goal last week against Livingston, but it did count nonetheless. Kyogo did get back on the score sheet, but then he did have that miss through the week against Dundee. They had the freedom of Dundee all the time in the world, threw on goal and lobbed it just past the post. It was actually significantly past the post when you see the replay. But he loves this fixture. 2023 has been the year for Kyogo in this fixture. He needs to find it tomorrow, doesn't he? He is so crucial tomorrow, Liam.
He is crucial tomorrow, and it's about how we bring him into the game. The one thing I like about Maeda with him on, they've got a connection together as well. What I like is Maeda puts a lot of pressure on the guys, and it's the balls that are coming off shins and knees and all that sort of stuff, whereas that's the stuff Kyogo seems to scoop up and does stuff with right now, because we're not getting the through balls of the big long passes to him. So I think it's about how do we feed him. Same with Palma as well. I mean, he's got to figure out how to get that ball to Kyogo tomorrow. No, he's not going to battle in the air with Goldson and all that, and he's not going to get any protection for the referee in the air either, with goalies and all that, all smashing about. The amount of time the wee man's on the deck playing against him is unbelievable. So I don't know, we might make sure that Palma, is getting the balls into him low and hard. And honestly, I hope somebody had a word with him this week about his corner kicks. How many corner kicks do you think he scored in training this week?
It looks like he's trying to shoot. Because I think he did that in his YouTube highlights video that everybody always sees. I'm pretty sure he scores direct from corners, and I think he's trying that.
Oh, you want a highlight video? He should be in the back room of Bears with his eyes like clockwork orange watching the Jota video. So you say, that's your goal tomorrow. That's what we want out of you, And there's as well like Kyogo, feed him. Same way whoever starts on the other side, whether it's Johnson or Barr. I mean, it's just all about not being selfish. Get the ball to Kyogo. I feel Palmer's too selfish. He takes that extra touch, and we're flying balls at the stadium. That was never a part of the Ange ball we played where we were successful, and Kyogo wasn't a part of that. The play wasn't the end with the ball flying into the stand. It was getting to Kyogo, and it was becoming a scoring chance. That's when we finished that series of play, And so I think we have to get back to that as well. And I said, Rodgers, suck it up, man. Look what your predecessor did. And take some of the things, get rid of the ego and say, you know what, yeah, some of these things are really, really good ideas. And even if they're not yours, it doesn't mean they're worse ideas. Adapt them. Start taking it. The players already know the system. The coaches know the system. Figure out, how did you used to feed Kyogo? Kyogo will tell you. Yep. Players that played with him will tell you.
Yep.
Get back to doing that.
Yeah, the amount of passes that we zip across the goal. And he's just playing that wee bit deeper now, and he hasn't there got on the end of it. And another guy that we've obviously missed is obviously Abada as well, because if Kyogo usually missed it, Abada would ghost in at the back post and usually score. So yeah, and obviously his name is doing the rounds as well. Again, he would be a real curveball tomorrow. So
see in the corners thing, I think tomorrow you might see if Celtic hit a shot and it gets deflected, right? You might see the Rangers goalie running to try and keep it in play, and a Celtic player try to do the same. Because we actually can't do anything for a corner, do you know what I mean? Let's be real. So we're now actually sprinting to try and keep the ball in as well. That's what I think is going to happen. It'd be better than getting 25 corners. Pointless.
It was ridiculous on Tuesday night. It felt like we were having some sort of world record of most corners without actually doing anything from them, other than a header from Scales quite early on that went by the post. Every one of them was just either overhit, it hit the first man, or it just went absolutely nowhere. So it was just like, well, we need to. And the thing that frustrates me the most is see the short corners. Like, short corners are fine if it's like you've got a cohesive plan, but it always feels like Celtic don't. They just hit a short one and then just kind of hope. There was one on Tuesday night where I think Matt O'Reilly tried to be sneaky by doing that thing where you don't know he's actually played it, and he left it for, who was it? Was it Bernardo? Whoever it was, basically sort of left it for them. And then it's like, but Dundee were wise to it, and they just shut them down right away. And it was like, well, that was the end of that one. So
my message would be, you start, if you think that ball's going out for a corner, you start keeping it in.
Yeah, keep it
in play, all right? Start hounding it.
Yep. Oh, I know. It's honestly, it's embarrassing because the set pieces could be so like vital for us. You know, if we're having a day where we just can't break them down in open play, that's where you look to try to make the difference. So again, it's just something that we need to practice. But apparently Ange Postecoglou revealed this when he was Celtic manager, that we don't practice set pieces. And I wonder if that's continued under Brendan's regime right now, because it definitely feels like we're all practicing them. Because absolutely woeful at them. But so I'd say the other position that's up for grabs, Abada, I think he'll be on the bench. I don't think he'll start. I think Hatate and Abada will be on the bench. I think it'd be crazy.
What have you made of Celtic hyping him and Hatate's return like this the day before the derby?
I saw a few people. I think Mark also said it, and was my first thoughts. The way they're doing it is like it's a new signing. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's filling me with dread. Is this us getting conditioned already?
Yeah, I think they were actually gutted it wasn't either those two's birthday as well. Do you know what I mean? They'd be all over it.
They would have been. Oh God! Oh please God, no! Because again, it's like, I know these players have been missed, no doubt about it, but they're not going to fix all the problems. Because if they come back and get injured again, which might happen, Hatate's been in and out of the team with injury.
I don't even think either's going to start, for fuck's sake.
So, yeah, it's a bit weird. I haven't known us to ever do that before on social media when a player comes back from injury, to get like that, like videos getting tweeted out by the club to say, "Oh, look who's back." It's like, I've never known that to happen. So it is yeah, perhaps that is what's going on here. A bit of Lowell ball.
Look who's back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's definitely back, as we know. But yeah, obviously then, guys, tomorrow we'll also go through the predictions then of how we think it's going to go. So Liam, what's your this could be the famous last words, so be careful here.
3-0 Greg Taylor hat trick.
Oh God.
I think tomorrow's going to be, I think, 2-0 Celtic. I think Kyogo. I think Tony Ralston. and I think, but the story's going to be Welsh and Scales. I like Welsh. He's like honest kid. I mean, he's never any bad shit about him, like that. He just seems a good guy. I don't think he's done bad. When he played against Real Betis, I thought he was one of the best players in the park. He was one of the most experienced in that squad when Ange put that team out against him. And I think he scored as well. So I'd really like to see him and Scales be the story tomorrow, and just watch the two of them, just dominate that game, but dominate for the back, and then hopefully all the good vibes just come for there. So 2-0 us. Good guys.
2-0 good guys. Russell, what about yourself? What do you think for tomorrow then?
I've got a feeling we will win. It's weird though. I don't know what I'm basing it on, and it'll only be by a goal. I think 1-0. I think again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was something similar to that. Who to score? Palmer.
Okay, that's a fair shout. It could be his moment then, because I agree with you on. I think his play. I think he has been playing well recently. A lot of people were giving him a lot of stick on Tuesday night, but again, I think when you actually look at the numbers, he was very productive. He was obviously his finishing could do a wee bit of a touch up. That one that he missed at the back post on Tuesday night was a bit like, he should have put that away. But no, he was definitely productive.
Does look like a big occasion player though, as wee bit as well.
Feel like that, yeah. I mean, obviously the Lazio goal was. It was unlucky in what happened there, but again, big occasion. Then Atletico Madrid to get the goal as well. So he does feel like he's got that in him. That sort of, again, the Chris Commons comparisons came up a few times. Chris Commons, especially when he first arrived at Celtic, he was a big game player because he kept on scoring against them and whatnot. So could it be? Could we see that tomorrow? I think I'm going for a Celtic one as well, but I think it's going to be an ugly, ugly game. I think both teams is going to be scrappy. But again, if we get a 1-0, a 2-1, deflects off a Stevie Welsh's backside into the net, whatever, just as long as it ends up in the back of the net for Celtic. So I think we will win it, but it will be a bit of an ugly one to sit through. And as I said at the top of the show, talking about the atmosphere tomorrow, the crowd have got to stay with them. They've got to misplaced passes and stuff like that. We can't be seeing fans getting on top of them and giving them grief in that. I know Greg Taylor loves a misplaced pass, but honestly, we need to refrain from any stick. We need to just keep encouraging them because it could be one of these ones that could go late in the game. We're still drawing with them. As long as we win it in the time, then that's all that matters because, we need to get through this winter break and try and regroup there because we've been running on fumes for a few weeks now, to say the least. So definitely.
The reason I think Palmer will score is obviously because he's the designated penalty taker for Celtic. So
of course, because we're going to get a penalty more. That's it. That's what's going to happen. Somebody asked earlier on, I think it was Sam Francel, asked who's on VAR. It's Willie Collum and Nick Walsh is the referee in the middle tomorrow. So read into that what you will. But is there any good options? Let's be honest. No, there isn't. But it's Nick Walsh with Willie Collum doing the VAR stuff. But before we do the Friday night tradition now, where Russell, you will be playing the quiz before we end the show, let's have a wee chat about something that was mentioned today. Apparently, Lawrence Shankland's name was mentioned by Brendan Rodgers today at the press conference. And again, it comes back to this whole striker debate because we now know that O has been called up to the South Korean squad. There's still no news on Japan's squad. We still haven't heard that. Or if it has been confirmed, then maybe we've got away with it. But I doubt that. I think Maeda would definitely have been picked anyway. So I just don't think Japan have announced theirs yet. But O and Yang, incredibly, have been called up for the South Korean squads, the Asian Cup. So they will miss the St Mirren game on the 2nd of January. They will definitely be missing for that one. I suppose you could look at it that way, no doubt about it. But I say we don't know right now what's going on with the Japan squad. If Kyogo will even make it, because he has been out of form. He wasn't getting picked when he was actually scoring loads of goals. Will he get picked when he's not scoring goals? Who knows? This will probably be the time he does get picked, of course. But as we said with this St Mirren game, like if the way our form's been this season, Liam, we can't just write it off and go, it's only St Mirren. Who cares if they missed that? We'll be fine anyway, because who knows what Celtic are going to turn up. But again, with the striker situation, I'm always a big fan of not having square pegs and round holes. I know under Ange, there was a few games where we had to play things like Abada as a centre forward because injuries, we just had to do it. But realistically, I would rather have a guy that is a number 9, a striker in the striker position. But for Celtic to do that, if Kyogo does go to the Asian Cup and he misses it as well, if that does happen, we're going into that St Mirren game with no striker at all. I don't know if anyone's going to get called up from the B squad all of a sudden. I doubt it. But that would mean Celtic would probably have to announce somebody on like the first day of January in order for them to play on the 2nd of January. Somebody who's match fit and got a bit of SPFL experience. And obviously the two that keep coming up, Majowski and Shankland. But apparently, Liam, Shankland was mentioned today by Brendan. I don't know the exact context. I did see a couple on Twitter saying he was mentioned. So I don't know if it was one of these. Did he just bring him up out of nowhere? I think it was probably more a journalist probably put a question to him about him, and he probably just...
About the derby it was. That's what it was. About away, because they have away fans and stuff.
Oh, well, yes, they do have that, yes. Take note, Rangers. But yeah, again, with yourself, Liam, what would you do for that one? Do you think Celtic have got something lined up, or are we just going to go into this game against St Mirren? And I think there's a couple of games at the end of the month that the players who are going to the Asian Cup will be due to miss as well. But one of them is the cup game against Bucky Thistle, which is you've got to imagine that'd be okay. But I don't know what the league game is after that. It might be, I'm not sure who it is in the league. Maybe Aberdeen or Ross County or something like that. But how are you feeling about that one, Jake? We need to get a striker in day one of the window, or Jake, we can wing it?
No, I say you want to get him in day one so he can go. I don't know if we're going away to do training or that. I thought we're staying, but even still,
we're actually staying, and we're not doing the Dubai thing this year.
Good.
Yeah.
So, aye.
Unless we get beat tomorrow, they'll suddenly come up with that idea again, won't they?
Oh yes.
You know what? Right away, it shows intention as well too. Especially if we come out and top tomorrow, right? When we come out tomorrow, immediately right away, make him the first signing that comes in. I like Shankland. I mean, I like him if he signs for us. If he goes there, I hate him. But for what I've seen so far, I think he would suit us. And I don't think Brendan would be throwing out platitudes to somebody that was going to potentially be signing with the other mob. So I don't think it's Miovski. I think Miovski's too much like Haksabanovic, it can play that role. The other thing I'm looking for going into this is, okay, who else would you recognise as a striker? And this is Rodgers. I mean, does Mikey Johnson get a shot at striker again now? Do we stick Tony Ralston up front? I mean,
why not?
He might be all right.
Greg Taylor.
Greg Taylor up front. Maybe, I'd love it. Fill the net. Right.
Maybe this is Bernabei's calling. Maybe this is what he was destined to do, to be a forward, because he's definitely not a defender. So, I mean, last week against Hearts, he get put on in a winger position, a wing forward, and it's like, what? But he's definitely not a defender anyway. But it's mad that what's being said there by Lovett is correct. We knew this was coming. This didn't sneak up on us. And of course, we're now hearing talk as well that some of the names we're getting linked with again is we're going back to the East Asian market, apparently. And it's like, what? Do you learn at all, Celtic? Do you? So, oh God, we've got this to look forward to when it all comes along. But yeah, we'll see what happens. First of all, we need to get this game out of the way, and then we play St Mirren on the 2nd in Paisley, and then we get the winter break for a few weeks. But yeah, during that time, we have to obviously get stocked up on whatever players we need. But as I say, with the way our form's been this season, I wouldn't necessarily trust us to go to St Mirren, where we've had a few bad results in recent years. We no recognised striker in a team that has had a few 0-0s this season. Drawn with St Johnstone, drawn with Hibs. It's like when we are struggling for goals, we are really, really struggling for goals. And the bench, we've highlighted the problems with the bench enough times when you turn and look at that and you're like, who can bail us out here? He doesn't bear thinking about. So, yeah, we'll deal with that when we come to it. But first and foremost, tomorrow, obviously, the big one. But before we do that, before we get to that, there is something else that we do on a Friday night, Russell. And because you're here and you haven't done it yet, your brother did it last week and he got so close to equaling.
Well, what did
this
he
man
get?
He got 8 out of 10, but this man on the screen with his Liam is top of the table with 9 out of 10. He's getting 9 out of 10.
Good man, Liam. Well done.
So Jono was very close last week. We get done by a question about Gary Hooper last week was his last question about how many goals he scored against Rangers in his time here, and the answer was 5, but he went for 4, I believe it was, or 3. But yeah, 5 was the answer. But yeah, Russell, we're going to play by the numbers. So I will get the aesthetics all set up because it's one of these share screen ones. So bear with me because it's no like the Sutton Death one where it's just a few clicks of the button. Bloody share screen's always a bit of a nightmare on this thing. Let's see. So share screen. So that one. Okay, cool. By the numbers. Can you see the graphic okay, Russell? Is it up on the screen, no bother?
Yes, I can.
Just about. Cool. Nice one. I'll take all of the stuff off of
I'll hide the comment.
No worries, mate. No worries. Good. You're just like Sutton Death, mate. And of course, I usually do the Sutton Death studio as well, just to add to it. Familiar, as Jono said last week, it's home away from home. Familiar surroundings for him. But yeah, and I also stick the music on as well. So let's get going. Okay, so I'm assuming, Russell, you're familiar with the rules of this game.
I'll hear you, mate. You're like in a fish tank or something, your voice.
It does it all the time. The music, when you start the music, for the first 5 seconds, it goes a bit loopy, but it's fine now.
Cool.
Do you need me to recap the rules, or are you familiar with the rules?
What are the options again?
So basically, it's like play your cards right.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what it is. So obviously I'm going to show you the shots, and yeah, but the first one that comes up, remember, you don't need to answer a question on. It's just your starter number, and then after that, it's higher or lower, and you have to answer 5 questions on whatever players come up. So let's get started, Russell. So your first shot, your first number to get you going is number 5, Mastorovic. Good thing it's not a question on him. That would be an obscure one. So Russell,
1977.
higher or lower than a 5, Russell?
Higher.
Higher than a 5. It's 17 is Ian Wright. And Russell, you're going to love this question. You're going to love it, mate. This is right up your street, this question, mate. Right up it, okay? When Ian Wright joined Celtic, he was older than our manager at the time, John Barnes. But how many days older is he than John Barnes? Is it 4, 5, or 6 days older?
4.
Correct. It is 4. 3rd of November 1963 to the 7th of November 1963. 4 days older. Yes, he is indeed. I knew that one was right up your street. Okay, so higher or lower than a 17?
We'll go lower.
Lower than a 17. It's not. It's 19. It's Petrov. Stan the man. So a question on Stan Petrov. Stan captained his country, Bulgaria, at which of these international tournaments? Euro 2004, World Cup 2006, or Euro 2008?
Euro 2008.
It was Euro 2004. He was the captain for Bulgaria when Henrik Larsson scored that diving header against him. The absolute belter, a header. Unlucky on that one. Okay, higher or lower than a 19?
Lower.
It is. It's number 2, Adam Matthews. A question on Adam Matthews. Okay, so in Neil Lennon's double winning season as manager, the 2013 season, during our Scottish Cup run, it took us a replay and an Adam Matthews wonder goal to advance from the 4th round against which lower league side? Was it Forfar, Arbroath, or Montrose?
Arbroath.
That is correct. Arbroath is indeed the correct answer. Hell of a goal it was too. Okay, so this is a good number to have. Higher or lower than a
lower? Higher.
I just read you don't get anything for a pair in this game, but it's not. Obviously, it's number 9, Lee Griffiths. It's a question on Griff. Lee scored his first goal for Celtic at which away venue? Tannadice, McDermott, or Tynecastle?
It'd be funny if it was the 3rd one. And it probably, yeah, let's say Tynecastle.
And it was the 3rd one. It was Tynecastle against the Jambos, and they took it very well. I was actually at that game. It's the only time I beat at Tynecastle. But yeah, the Hearts fans down at that corner, they took it well, as you can imagine.
Great bunch.
Oh yes. Okay, so this is a bit of one of those stinky numbers, but higher or lower than a 9?
Higher.
Higher than a 9 he's going for, and it's lower. It's a 4, McNamara. But a good question here on old Jackie. You'll like this one, and especially appropriate given what game is tomorrow. In a rather infamous Celtic Rangers game in 1997, a picture exists of a scrap during the game where Jackie looks to be punching which Rangers player? Ian Ferguson, Mark Hateley, or Gordon Durie?
Ian Ferguson.
It's Mark Hateley, but I know why you've said Ferguson. It's because he got into a scrap with Canio, didn't he, in that game? It was Mark Hateley.
Oh my God. So the most I can get now is 8.
That's it. That's it over, mate. That's the.
Oh, is that you right? Oh, shit.
That's the 5th one. That's it. You go through 5 shots. So McNamara was the last one, but I've actually got the picture.
So how did they get 8 and 9?
Because what happens is you get a point for every shot number you guess correctly, higher or lower, and you get a point for every and there is the punch, by the way.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There you go. Take that one, Hateley. Mark Hateley gets sent off as well, and amongst all that, he's the one that get the red card. But there you go. But yeah, it's you get a point for every question you get right, and you get a point for every shot number.
Matters. Oh,
Aye, so that's where the 10 points come from. There's 5 questions and 5 short guesses. But nevertheless, Russell, you've now played it. That's you, man. You've played it now. So
what did I get?
Let's see. I'll total up. I'll total up after the show. I'll total up after the show, mate.
Thanks, mate.
The lowest score is 5 out of 10 that Connor got. There's 3 people on 6 out of 10. Jono's got 8, and Liam's top of the table with 9. So you're somewhere in the 6s and 7s range, I reckon. But I'll total it up after the show.
No, I don't think so.
We'll find it. We'll find out afterwards. But yeah, that's us. We're coming up on now. So yeah, we can call it there, folks. So yes, I'll say tomorrow. If you're going to the game, obviously enjoy it and wrap up very well. I say this every week now because we're in the dead of winter, but it is supposed to be perishingly cold tomorrow for the game. So hopefully Celtic give us plenty to keep us warm and excited watching that one. Of course, if you're watching it from home, obviously whatever you do, having a wee beer while you're watching it, whatever. Try not to hide behind the couch too much. Hopefully it's not one of the types of games that we need to hide a wee bit. But yeah, it's just tomorrow, whatever it takes, Celtic, just make sure you get the points on the board because that's all that matters at this stage. All that matters. Any final words from you two guys before we go? Keep it clean.
I'll try and get a cigar for Graham. He wants me to smoke a cigar on the PMP tomorrow, so if we win, I'll try and get one.
Yeah, I can smoke something, Boise.
What's that?
I can come on and smoke something, Boise.
Yeah, why no?
There'll be a cigar.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, we get you. Well, there's something to look forward to tomorrow. You'll have Terry on the vodkas, and Russell will have a celebratory cigar as well for it. But let's hope so. So PMP tomorrow will be probably about what, back at 2, half 2 or whatever, then a bit there, or a bit later. He's frozen at the worst possible time. Look at that face that is frozen on. Hilarious. We'll keep you guessing with that one. But yeah, PMP will be on tomorrow at some point. I say 2-ish, 3-ish, whatever. We'll find it. But yeah, look out for the link. Of course, if you subscribe to the bus and hit that bell notification, you will know when it's going on because you'll be reminded when it's on. But yeah, with all that said and done, say enjoy the game tomorrow. Hopefully it's a good one and we're all celebrating tomorrow when it's all said and done. And yeah, Celtic remain top of the table with a nice wee cushion at the top. So guys, we will catch you later and hail, hail.